Happy New Year. Good day, good day, good day, and welcome to Drew's Book Reviews. It's the New Year's live stream. Boy, it has been quite the hectic year for me and my family in 2023, but I'm looking forward to a more chilled 2024. I was wanting to go ahead and get some of these videos out by the end of the 2023, but just life has happened, and so I decided to just combine it all in a single live stream event. So for those of you who will be tuning in here, or watching later, thanks for watching. I'm so happy to be here. So, I wanted to take this opportunity to really just kind of go over how things went for me in 2023, booktube wise, or just in general, what I read in December, and what I'm looking forward to as far as when it comes to 2024. 'Cause certainly a lot to be happy about this year, despite the trials and the frustrations and just the craziness of this year. I think I still managed to come out in the end pretty good. So let's talk about it. Let's see how things went. First off, I do want to just quickly touch base and cover what did I read in December, because I didn't get a chance to put that video out. So I'll just quickly touch base on what I read in December. So, first thing that I read in December, well, not the first book that I read in December, of course, but one of the books that I read in December was Making Money by Terry Pratchett from the Discworld. This was an awesome read, really enjoyable. It was fun, it was entertaining. It's about really poking fun at the whole banking system that we have, and this idea of how our money isn't really based on anything of value. And it was just a fun, entertaining read, typical of Terry Pratchett, of course, and everything that Terry Pratchett does with his books. And definitely, if you're not a Discworld fan, I highly recommend it. I'm actually almost all the way through the full Discworld series, which I'm looking forward to finishing up. But Making Money was a good one. Basically, you hire this criminal to run a bank, because who's better qualified than a criminal to run a bank, right? So that's really fun. Terry Pratchett book, just as they all are, really. One one of the other books that I read this year, or not this year, I guess, just in this past month of December, was John Gwynne Wrath. So this is the final book in The Faithful and the Fallen, book four. Great end to that series. Really enjoyed it. Kind of a Viking inspired book. I mean, it wasn't the greatest fantasy I've ever read, not by a long shot, but still pretty good overall. And I did enjoy it. So I'm definitely going to continue with John Gwynne's books. There's a few more on the list that I haven't gotten to yet as far as John Gwynne books go. So we're going to see where we go from there and how I continue to like his writing. Overall, though, definitely an enjoyable read with John Gwynne's Wrath. One of the other books, let me just grab it here. One of the other books that I finished up in the month of December was Robin Hobb Mad Ship. So this is about the Mad Ship Paragon, and I really like where this is going. Finally, getting some more information about the one who remembers. That's kind of a subplot that seems to be happening in the background, and it didn't seem connected in any way to the core of the whole live ship trader story. But we got more information on it in this book, which is awesome. So we got more going on there and getting more context, which is always a good thing. And like all of Robin Hobb's books, I absolutely love this one as well. This really is a fantastic series of books. If you haven't read it, you've got to go check it out. It's just so good. Really enjoyed that book as well. One of the other books that I read was The Third Kingdom. So this is part of the Sword of Truth. So I know I kind of had that breaking up video with the Sword of Truth. It's part of the Sword of Truth world, but I also mentioned that I just wanted to finish out the ones that I had on Audible. This is not part of the main core of the series and world, but I just kind of wanted to finish this out. This is basically a story about half-dead zombie apocalypse in this particular set of books. Interesting read. It's okay, not great, but it is what it is, right? Not much we could do there. And one of the other books that I actually read, I don't have the physical book to show you on this one, but it was a fifth surprise secret novel by Brandon Sanderson. Long Chills and Keisto. Honestly, if you're on the Discord, you already know how I rated this if you've seen the post. but it was not a book that I really thought was a great read, to be honest. It's very rare that I rate Brandon Sanderson as low as I did on that one, a 2 out of 5. That's not it. What I will say is like this is not Sanderson at his peak, as I understand, based on the preface of the book. He originally what he did was he read the book or wrote the book, I should say, back in 2002. So it's not his best work for sure, and not one that I could say I could highly praise. It's basically a 1920s Chicago mob detective story. Kind of has that vibe from Dixon Hill vibe, which if you're a Trekkie, Picard's favorite detective program, Dixon Hill, from his holodeck programs, kind of gives me that kind of vibe. I'm thinking of doing a full video review on that, so stay tuned. That might be coming up. You never know. So that was my December. As far as the reads that I did in December, so typical amount of books, 4 to 5 books in a month, which is pretty typical, and as far as that goes. But let's talk a little bit about how 2023 went. And man, 2023 was just brutal, absolutely brutal year for my family. Uh, a lot of challenges to face. I didn't get nearly as many books read in 2023 as I initially set out to do. I think I had a goal something like 75 books. I had to claw that back to 50 just because so much was happening this year between our family's move that we had going on. So our family, of course, we'd moved to a new city. My employment situation changed as the company I worked for was bought out. We got I picked up a second job, and just a lot of things going on this year, which was if you've been on the Discord and you've been following this story, I was under a lot of stress, and it really took a bigger toll on me than I expected. So in a lot of ways, a lot of the time that I would spend reading kind of got sidetracked quite a bit. So I didn't get through as many books as I had hoped. But it's not to say there weren't any highlights as far as books read in 2023 go. There was actually some really awesome things that I enjoyed out of my 2023 reads. One of which, if you take a look here, you can see the Sanderson Secret Projects. I absolutely love these books. They were so good, so much fun. I'm so glad as a Kickstarter backer for them. They were some of my favorite reads of the year. Hands down, the Secret Projects were just so much fun. They really were. Just from Trust of the Emerald Sea to Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, The Sunlit Man, and of course, The Frugal Wizard's Guide to Surviving Medieval England. Which one's my favorite? I don't know. I'm not sure which one is my favorite, but definitely they're all pretty good. I think probably Tress, actually, come to think of it. It's really unique new world and new setting. Tress of the Emerald Sea. It's kind of like a pirate type story, almost Princess Bride inspired, as Brandon Sanderson has mentioned, inspired by the Princess Bride. So it was a really fun one, and I really enjoyed those Secret Project books. I've got a couple of reviews of those books here on the channel. You should be able to find them. I think probably on the fantasy playlist. Although I think I created a Secret Projects playlist, I can't quite remember. But anyway, that is some of the things that I enjoyed. Those are kind of some of the highlights. That are some of my other favorite reads of the year. I don't have the physical book here with me. I guess I should have brought it over. But some of my other favorite physical reads of the year, or reads of the year, I should say, are going to be Patrick Stewart's memoir, Making It So. It's another one I happen to have the review of here on the channel as well. Making It So was a good, amazing, fun, awesome read. I really like that book. Absolutely. It was really great kind of reading more of Patrick Stewart's perspective on his career and his life. With Making It So. I mean, we all know him from the Star Trek days, of course, but it's not everything about his career has been Star Trek. So it's kind of fun to see that perspective that he put forth in that, and I really, really enjoyed seeing that as well. That was honestly a lot of fun. Anyway, so in terms of how my year went, let's take a look at some stats. So actually, one thing I want to mention is I'm kind of slowly phasing we'll get to that in my 2024 preview part of the video today. But one thing that I'd like to kind of go over is take a look at some of the stats and reading stats that we had going on with this year. So let me just add this in here. So my 2023 books, I see I'm using hardcover for this because honestly, I just like hardcover better than Goodreads at this point. So let's see what my hardcover stats have to say here. So you see, it shows 48 books read. I think I actually got to 50, I think. Anyway, it shows 48 books read, 3 referrals, 17 authors read, added 13 to my want to read, and a total of 24,602. One thing I really like about the hardcover is you get much more in-depth stats about your reading and progress, which is just awesome because hardcover is just so much better for that. And I really like that aspect of it. So let's kind of go over some of these stats. 5-star reads for the year. As you can see, I've got several 5-star reads for the year. Patrick Stewart's making it so. So as I mentioned, this was one of my favorite reads. Same with The Sunlit Man. This is one of my favorite reads of the year as well. Of course, Sanderson's Secret Project, you had to get get that on there, of course, as a favorite read. It is Sanderson after all, and despite my ranking of his Long Chills and Case, though, it's still he's always going to be one of my top authors for sure. And then we also have, of course, Fan Fiction by Brent Spiner. This was a really fun one. It's like a fictional memoir about his experiences on Star Trek, which is just really kind of crazy. Honestly, hilarious in so many ways. If you haven't read fan fiction, I highly recommend you check it out because fan fiction is just hilarious, and it really is a great read. And of course, Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb was another 5-star read for me this year. And overall, just everything Robin Hobb so far has just been so good that it's hard to say it's a bad book. There are very few authors I could say I've never read a bad book by, including Brandon Sanderson. I've actually read bad Sanderson books, but so far I haven't read any bad Robin Hobb books, at least not any books I would consider bad by any means. And then we also, of course, got Wintersmith by Terry Pratchett, which is just another awesome, crazy book. Basically, the seasons are at war, is what that breaks down to. It's kind of fun though, fun read if you haven't read it. Like I said, any Discworld book is enjoyable read, and I highly recommend anything Discworld for sure. So this is a handy little stat here. It kind of gives you information about how many pages are read by day, um, or read by the month here, which I really like here. So as we can see here, it kind of goes up, down. I mean, March, April, I'm not surprised how little pages were read in April. That was the month we moved, and it was quite a busy month. Nicely, June kind of got shot back up to the top for number of pages read during a given time frame or by the month. Altogether, it shows 24,602 pages read for me on the hardcover stats here. And if we take a look at books by rating for this year, I've got 5 5-star reads, 3 4.5-star reads. That's another thing with hardcover that I really like. I can actually do half-star ratings. You just can't do that with Goodreads. Like they don't let you give a half-star rating, which is unfortunate because why not, right? It really should give you a half-star option if you wanted it. So under 4-star reads, I've got 13 4-star reads, 11 3.5-star reads, 9 3-star reads, 3 2.5-star reads, and 2 2-star reads. Let's take a look at these 4-star reads. That's actually quite the list. I don't think that is actually all for this year, but there you go. As far as the number of books based on star ratings that I have read in each category this year, which is kind of awesome. Top liked authors. So apparently, I've Terry Goodkind is my top liked review. But as we can see here, it's saying you're more into fiction, which honestly, I could have told you that. No surprise there. I could have told you that. And I like how it kind of breaks down. I've got some stats here about books by genre. So it shows 33 fantasy, 25 sci fi, 25 adventure, 17 young adult. So that's quite a bit of. Those are more than I actually read this year. So I think this is actually showing like all time stats or something like that. rather than just by 2023 stats. But still kind of interesting to see there. Here we go, books by mood. So there you go, adventurous. Apparently, I'm definitely more into adventurous. Is the most books by mood that it shows here. Um, so that's kind of interesting to see there. Let's see what other stats it has here. And the only thing I will say about this, oh yes, Grimm's Fairy Tales. That's one I completed this year as well. I think I'd have to put that up as probably one of my favorite reads of the year. I mean, it's definitely dated and has not aged well in a lot of ways, but it was really interesting to go back and really kind of see where these Grimm fairy tales started and the original Grimm's fairy tales. So that's always fun. Now, I'm not sure why this says I've read Empire Silence three times. I definitely have not, but for some reason it's showing that I read it three times. I definitely have not, though. So what's really awesome about this, and I never see this on any other books, particularly Goodreads. I don't see this on Goodreads, but it's showing here two readers have discovered Making It So, a memoir by Patrick Stewart because of me. So people added this to their liked or want to read list based on what they saw me reading of it, which is pretty cool. And apparently, I read John Gwynn's Wrath pretty quick in 11 days. Who would have thought? Excuse me. So, reading versus listening, you've read more than you listen to, but to be honest, I never actually I always select the print version. I don't usually select the audiobook when I put in the books that I'm reading here. So I think it's always going to show that 100% read versus listened to anyway. So yeah, not a big deal. Um, but in, but in terms of my average page count, it's 599 pages per book. So I'm definitely not someone who reads short books. I love those big books. I don't know why, but I just seem to kind of default into those big books. So when we break it down, the number of books by page count, this is really interesting too. I got one 1,200 page book. Two books are 900 to 1,200. Five books that were 800 to 900. 10 books 700, 800. So it's kind of interesting. So most books that I read are 700 to 800 pages. It looks like based on the stats for this year as well on the hardcover stats, which and of course three that were 0 to 100 pages. So I think the Long Chills and Queso definitely would have been one of them. I'm not sure which other ones it's looking at that. I'm not sure which these ones were, but hey, apparently that's what I read there. So books rated highest versus the average. This is an interesting comparison. So these are the books that are rated higher than the average. So both Making It So, Memoir, The Sunlit Man, Wintersmith, Assassin's Quest, and fan fiction. See, I like these more than the average reader. Again, this is the kind of stat that you just don't find on Goodreads, and why I really like this site much better is for hardcover. And then here we can see the average rating. So here's a bunch of books here that I read this year that were less than the average. Sorry, just 1 second. One moment. So there are clearly people that like Long Chills and Queso better than me, as well as a few other ones. I rank them lower than any others. Now, if we take a look at genres read by month, not not too concerned about those ones. But there you have it. There's some reading stats for my reading year of 2023 based on hardcover reading stats. And if you have not joined hardcover, definitely do so. Because honestly, I just find it to be a better site than Goodreads by far, by a long shot. It really is. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely make sure that you do so. I really enjoy the hardcover there. And there's some reading stats there for you based on what I read in 2023. Now, all we got to do now is talk a little bit about what my plans are for 2024. Sorry, hold on. So for 2024, I find like a lot of booktubers out there, they're often having this often have this, what are my most anticipated reads or most anticipated releases for 2024? And I got to be honest, I find I don't usually do that. It's not something that I typically find that I'm doing. Sorry, just one moment. So I don't usually have an anticipated or most anticipated book releases typically, but one book release that I'm absolutely highly looking forward to, of course, is going to be Brandon Sanderson's book five of the Stormlight Archive. So actually, I've got the first four. There, there we go. I've got the first four Sanderson books in the Stormlight Archive, of course, and book five is scheduled to be released in December. I'm so pumped for that. I cannot wait for book five. I have no doubt it's going to be an amazing read, just like the rest of Stormlight is. So it is going to be a lot of fun. And I can't wait for that to come out. That is definitely going to be a highly anticipated read. And the moment I can pre order it from the local bookstore here, I'm going to do that. Absolutely, I'm going to do that because why not, right? Uh, Of course, it doesn't come out to December, so it's still got lots of time. But actually, one of my plans for this year is I'm actually going to go back and listen to the first four Stormlight books on Audible in preparation for book five because it's been a while since I've read them. Probably be my third time through this series now as we prepare for book five, and I'm probably going to be doing that as each successive book in the Stormlight Archive continues to be released. Because why not? I mean, it's going to be a great read. It's a great story. It's one of the best and most epic fantasy stories out there, in my humble opinion. But that's just me gushing on Sanderson because I'm obsessed with Sanderson and love his books. Mostly, there's a few ones that I don't love, but generally, I love Sanderson's writing. So that's going to be one of the things I'm really anticipating this year, as far as the reads for Sanderson or as reads for this year. But I'm also going to be continuing on my read at Discworld. I'm almost done. I actually anticipate finishing up Discworld for this year as well. I'm going to finally finish that series as well. And then I'm going to continue on with some Canterbury classics. One moment. Let me actually just go and grab that Canterbury classic I'm going to read this year because you guys, I'm pretty sure I remember this, which one it was, but I'm pretty sure you voted on the classics of sci-fi. I'd put a poll out on the channel a while back on which one I should read for this year. So let me just pull that up here. Yeah, it's classics of science fiction and fantasy. I've actually got a really nice edition of that. I'm just going to go grab it. I'll be right back. And back. As mentioned, there's a poll put out on which one of the Canterbury classics I should read next year or this year. And that is the winner of that poll is Classics of Science Fiction and Fantasy. So I got this really awesome Canterbury Classics edition of this book, and I'm actually really looking forward to getting to reading this. I'm not sure at what point in the year I'll start to read it, but I'm hoping to get it done as quick or start reading it in the next couple of months at the very least. These are some very small print, as you can see. So this is something that's definitely going to take quite a while to read this year. So welcome to those that have joined us. Good to see you here. But yeah, this is going to be a fun one. I mean, I love sci-fi fantasy, so how could it not be fun, right? So definitely that's going to be a good read this year, and hopefully won't take me too long to get through that. I kind of have to sort and figure out how I'm going to plan that into the year at this point, to be perfectly honest. And one of the things that I'm actually doing as well is starting in 2024 here. I'm actually starting to the phase out Goodreads in its entirety. Now, I still have a to be read shelf on Goodreads, but I'm not really adding anything new to that. And once I'm through that to be read shelf I got listed on Goodreads, I'm just going to stop using the app altogether in favor of exclusively hardcover. So it's going to be a kind of a slow phase out process there. So definitely, if you want to follow me on any of these social media book sites, join me on hardcover because that's where I'm going to be focusing most of my activity as far as bookish content and things like that go. So, with that in mind, I do want to say, of course, Happy New Year, and I hope it's been a great New Year for you so far. And I'm looking forward to everything that we're going to be reading. I'm going to be reading this year, and also stay tuned. I will have my next 5 reads video coming out shortly here, as we hopefully I want to get that out by the end of the week. So with any luck, we'll be able to do that, and we'll go from there. And I do want to say, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like, comment, and subscribe button. I'm glad that we could have this short little live stream today. And, for all those who come back and watch on the replay, let me know in the comments section, of course, what your thoughts are on 2023, how your reading year went, and what your plans are. If you have any anticipated reads for 2024, I'd love to hear from you. Of course, join me on the Discord. We'll try and make sure all that stuff is linked in the description below. And as always, I do want to say thank you so much for choosing to watch live today, and thank you for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing and liking and commenting and all that good stuff. Look forward to hearing more from you. And until next time, keep on reading. Bye.